Have you ever slept with a colleague? How did it end? Once I was in a real salaried position, no. But back in the day when I worked part-time in retail and restaurants, God, everyone slept with everyone. But when you think about it, what are two retail employees really risking by having a fling? Getting fired from their dream job at Dick's Sporting Goods? Duty! I worked as an assistant manager at Dick's. One time, I had to pull a guy aside and explain to him that he shouldn't blab to everyone that he hooked up with a hot girl from the clothing department. And another time, there was this girl who liked me. She grabbed her own tits and started shaking them, thinking no one was watching. Turns out, the boss was watching her the whole time, LOL. And we had this disgusting old geezer who ran the clothing department and only hired stunner girls who had barely turned 18. I swear, give it a little more time and you could film another American Pie movie based on what goes on at Dick's. I slept with a cute girl from the neighboring department. Apparently, things went pretty well because we've been married for 20 years. We worked in the same department, lived in marriage for 45 years. Edited, I was asked to tell more details. When I was in college, I worked part-time as a PC operator. The woman who later became my wife also worked as an operator, but she was no longer a student and was a year older than me. We often ended up on the same shifts and sat together in a lecture hall filled with computers. We gradually became friends. One time I bought her ice cream and then invited her to a concert on campus. I invited her just as a friend, but she was sure it was a date. When the summer break was approaching, golden rule. Never sleep with someone you can fire and never sleep with someone who can fire you. Depends on how important this job is to you. If your career depends on it, then it's probably better not to get involved. But if you're a teenager working part-time at a supermarket and the hot female manager has taken a liking to you, why not? It could be a great experience. I worked in a bar for over 10 years, so yeah, it happened with colleagues. Usually things remained casual. Hangouts after the shift, a drunken fling, and the next day, both pretend nothing happened. And on and on. It was fun. I also worked in a bar, constantly exchanged banter and flirted with the female bartenders. They reciprocated, but usually it never went beyond typical bar flirting. In the end, I still slept with one of them. Honestly, she didn't particularly attract me at first, but she had been persistently coming on to me for several months. At some point I thought, all right, let's do it once and she'll calm down. I immediately said there would be no continuation. She replied that this suited her perfectly. The next morning, I drove her home, and on the way, she suddenly asked if I had ever engaged in fisting. I answered without hesitation, no. Then she very seriously proposed trying it with her. I refused even faster. There was nothing more between us. After that, I decided not to get involved with female bartenders. All the girls from the bar industry that I dated brought too much stress into my life. It's fun with them, of course, but it feels like there's constant chaos going on in bartenders' lives, even outside of work. During her university internship, my friend slept with her supervisor. She fell head over heels in love with him, but as soon as the internship ended, he dumped her and didn't even recommend her for a permanent position. As a result, after graduation, she had to get a job waitress. A long time ago, I worked in tech support, and my colleagues nicknamed me the Space Elevator. I was really into the topic at the time, constantly reading about space elevators and starting to tell everyone about them at every opportunity. Once, I had a fling with a colleague over the weekend, and on Monday, she announced to the whole office that she rode the space elevator, lol. A new girl joined our team, and one of my colleagues fell in love with her. Literally at first sight. It was so obvious that absolutely everyone noticed. Thankfully, except her. Otherwise, the situation would have been really awkward. She just walked into the room, and that was it. The guy was gone. For the next several weeks, he tried to run into her more often, behaved as politely as possible, and gradually got to know her better. But there wasn't much progress. Then he finally asked her out on a date, but she seemed to not even realize how important it was to him and turned him down very casually. About a year later, the company organized a trip to a ski resort. We decided to help him out a bit and specifically arrange load ourselves on the bus so that the only free seat was next to him. Even the ski groups were organized so that they ended up together. She had never skied before. As a result, she fell, got hurt, and hated the whole trip. But this guy stayed by his city the whole time, helping her and making sure everything was fine. We later joked with him that he probably pushed her himself so that he'd have an excuse to court her. He, of course, denied everything, but on the way back, they were already chatting, laughing, and had clearly become much closer. Soon, this couple started dating. Then the girl found another job and suggested he move there with her. He agreed. They got married quite quickly. Now they have 3 children and they've lived together for over 20 years. When I was 17, I worked at a cinema and met a girl my age there. At first, we just teased each other, then this gradually turned into flirting that was impossible not to notice. After a few months, it wasn't just jokes anymore. Double entendre phrases, long gazes, and a constant feeling that something was clearly happening between us appeared. We hid from visitors and colleagues in dark corners and back rooms and kissed there. Then they taught me how to work with a movie projector. When I started going on shifts in the projection booth, I secretly brought her there during lunch breaks, and we did it. The keys to the projection booth were only with the projectionists and managers. And on weekends, the managers were always in the lobby, so no one ever disturbed us. In January, it will be 21 years since we've been together. Once I made that fatal mistake. He said he was free. In reality, he had a wife. She found out everything and came the end. I got fired, and he got promoted shortly after. This happened a week before Christmas, many years ago. At age 22, I worked at a casino. There was real filth going on there. Every week, the surveillance department would post a list of employees who violated the rules in the break room. Usually, about 70% of the points in it were about me. I was hitting on the waitresses, serving cocktails, and chatting with female patrons. At the same time, I was never officially reprimanded for anything because I was the only one who knew how to fix the old slot machines. I think I slept with about half the waitresses, and I didn't face any serious consequences. But now, looking back, I still don't advise that to anyone. At that moment, everything was wonderful. I was working in production back then and was head over heels in love with a colleague from Belgium. For some time, we were just friends. One day, we had a Christmas party. We had a drink, and then she came back to my place. After that, it was incredibly awkward for a few months. Already the next day, the entire factory knew about everything. Colleagues were constantly joking and making comments. I think they were just jealous because she was insanely beautiful. She was here on a tourist visa and left back to Belgium at the beginning of this year. We sometimes text each other on social media, but it seems she already has a boyfriend now.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.